Welcome to Driven, the Unscripted Success podcast, with your hosts, Mike Menino and Nareman Hamdan, bringing you insights and stories on achieving personal, professional, and financial success.
Hey guys, I'm Nareman Hamdan, and this is Driven, Unscripted Success podcast. We've got a great guest on for you today. We've got Mike Stohler. Mike is out of Scottsdale, Arizona. He's been in the real estate business for over 20 years. He's a former commercial airline pilot. He's a Navy veteran. Thank you for your service. And co-founder at Gateway Private Equity Group. It's a real estate investment firm whose portfolio has included hotels, multifamily, and residential properties between apartment complexes, houses, and hotels. Mike has owned and operated over 1,500 units. And he's seeking value add opportunities and higher returns. Mike pivoted from multifamily to hotels and now focuses exclusively on the hotel niche. How are you?
Doing well, thank you.
Good. That was a mouthful. Thank you for coming on.
I think my assistant needs to shorten that a little bit.
I think she covered everything though. So why don't you tell us a little bit, give us a little snapshot of your business, what you do, what your business does, and all that good stuff.
Sure. Yeah. About 9 years ago, someone bought out my multifamily portfolio. And so I was like, well, what do I do? Multifamily is still at that point 3.5, 4 caps. So through networking, I found someone that was in the hotel space, loved it. And it was one of those, I have the money, you find me hotels, you teach me everything you know about hotels, you're going to run them, and we're going to have a great time. And if you do that, I'll give you a piece on the back end. I'll actually make you part owner because I wanted them to have skin in
Yeah,
the game.
absolutely.
So we've been in the hotel business, and now because the economy is kind of wonky, interest rates, prices, expenses, we've actually shifted to Spain. So we have some assets in and around Barcelona, Spain. So Spain's been absolutely fantastic.
That's wonderful. So are you primarily like boutique hotels or?
Great question. Here in the States, some boutiques, but most of them are the Comfort Inns, Quality Inns, Wingates, the
Okay.
franchise.
And then in
Those are
Europe,
Europe
you're,
are castles built in the 1600s that have
oh,
been
very neat.
turned into like high-end boutiques.
Oh, that's wonderful. There's a lady I had on. She's a syndication attorney out of California. But she invests in exactly what you invest in, the boutique hotels. And I believe she has one in Belize, and then she was doing a raise for one probably it was a year ago when we chatted. But she was doing a raise right around this time last year for a couple boutique hotels in Europe. So I
hmm
find that fascinating. And I mean, the hold on those is what typically it's over 10 years.
For
Uh,
Spain, for regular ones, they're longer holds, 7 to 10 years, because we're owning a
okay.
business, right? Boutique hotels in Spain, what's fascinating is our investors don't want us to sell. They want us to keep buying more because they want the little drop down box. And they say, Mike, number one, your trip over to Europe is now a business trip. So you get to deduct expense
Sure.
your vacation. And then you get to enjoy a glass of red wine at your castle uh, in the
At your
mountains.
castle. I like the way
You know,
that sounds.
so it's the first time in my career, no one's ever said, I can't wait to see that Quality Inn in Topeka, and stay there. No one's ever said that with our regular hotels, but these estates and chateaus and castles, they're like, just keep buying them because they're so inexpensive. for what you get. It's crazy.
And the expenses on them aren't, to maintain them and keep them up and going. Like,
No, I mean, these are 6 foot thick castle walls that have been around for 600 years. They're not going anywhere.
sure.
What you don't want is the drywall wood construction built in the United States in the 80s.
Yeah, I guess, yeah, point there.
And that's those are going, but they've all been converted. They've all been, it's um, very strict guidelines. So they're up and running. They're doing wonderful.
That's fantastic. So, what is one of the biggest challenges you've had to overcome in your career?
COVID.
Yeah, yeah, there you go.
That's, how about buying a hotel in November of 2019?
Oh gosh.
And yeah, I was about 25 pounds overweight, and 3 years later, and I'm a nice thinner guy because I just too much stress, but it made me the best hotelier and the best general partner when things are lean and tough and you're down to 8 or 9% occupancy. You learn a lot
Gosh.
about your skills.
Sure. I'm sure. I couldn't even imagine that. Gosh. When you think back, are there any moments that you say really changed the game for you in your career?
When I first started, way back, I call it the PG days, the pre-Google days, when I couldn't Google how to be a landlord. I was I grew up in a very, very small town in Indiana, but I bought some properties. Had no idea what I was doing. Had to give them back. We moved into my wife's parents. So that, but I knew that real estate was it. So that was one of the defining, it's like, okay, how about studying a little bit? I mean, how do you study? I can't flip through the yellow pages and say, okay, how to be a landlord.
Yeah,
So what I did was I actually got a job as a property manager just to learn.
sure.
I was like, on how to think out of the box. And plus, I took all their forms so I could use them.
Here we go.
Thought outside of the box, learned a little bit, and then got back into it.
Sure. And that's how and I agree with you. I mean, I'm from the PG era as well, pre-Google, and it's either you go to the library and go through the index cards
Yeah.
and find the book and the research you want to do or old newspapers or whatnot, or you go get a job doing what you want to learn
Mhm.
how to do
Yep.
and absorb as much as you can and grab as much information as you can as well. And you basically replicate it,
Exactly.
and learn.
Yep.
Um, so yeah. So what's a skill or a habit you think doesn't get enough credit contributing to your success?
There's so many. Entrepreneurship is a very, people don't realize how lonely a job it is. You're sitting at a desk, you're doing things. Most people don't network properly.
Sure.
As an entrepreneur, you don't, a lot of times you can't go to family. Like, who do you talk to when something's gone wrong and people are like going, nah, you don't even work. You're golfing on Tuesdays. No one really understands. So the
Sure.
importance is find either a mastermind or a group online or around. And it's so nice to be able to bounce things off of people who actually understand what you're going through. Instead of people
Sure.
like, I don't want to hear it. They're like going, you've got the life. I'm like, oh, you have no clue,
Right.
what's,
Yeah, entrepreneurship is not for the weak, that's for sure.
mm,
And it is an unpredictable roller coaster ride every time.
yes.
And one day you're flying on cloud nine and you hit it. And out of nowhere, it's
Yep.
a
All
disaster
out
the
of
next
nowhere.
day or a week later. And it's, it's,
Yep.
it's constantly being on your feet and on your game, thinking of just, I mean, you become a master strategic thinker and planner, you know, So yeah, I understand it, and a lot of people will see the fruits from your labor from times
Hmm.
and how your schedule is not that bad. But do you know what it took to get here?
Hmm.
And what it takes to hang on to it? And
Yeah, they're
you
not
know, so
seeing me. They're not seeing the emails at 10, 11 o'clock at night, and
no, definitely
the
not.
stress in between. Because we put on this face, when we're out and about and say, "Oh yeah, life's good," and I'm like, "Oh my
Right.
gosh."
Yeah. Not including the 10,000 text messages sent in
Hmm.
half a day. So
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
I completely, we're on the same level there. Sometimes it's fun, sometimes not so fun.
It's
But I want,
always fun as long as you keep the why.
yeah,
Why are you doing this? Because if you don't have the defined why, then it's not worth it. It's just
yeah,
something that you're
absolutely.
striving for every day.
Yeah, yeah, I wouldn't trade it for the world. Then again, I feel like to be an entrepreneur, you have to be a little bit of a sicko,
Yeah.
mentally to put yourself
Yes,
through that. But the rewards are just way too good to not be an
it
entrepreneur,
is.
well, for me anyway. So anyhow, staying on top of your field is tough. So what's something exciting you see on the horizon in your industry, and how are you getting ready for it?
Tokenization might be something really big in the real estate industry. We are in negotiations with a tokenization fund, and they've created a whole new portal. They've created this entire back end way of when you do syndications, and we all have portals where the distributions for the investors and all the CRM stuff. Well, they're getting to the point now where you can tokenize your distributions, and then it's not like capital gains because you're not actually getting that. You're keeping it into a token. So we're seeing some headways in a lot of people wanting distributions that way.
As in
Um,
coin currency
as
with
in, yeah, as in
tokens.
coin, yeah. So we're seeing that, and that's getting really big. And I'm seeing more and more of it, especially in Europe, where it's more common
Sure.
to do that. That's one of the headwinds I'm seeing. And then just, the strength of the European market, which I never in my entire life would have ever thought. I was poo-pooing Europe big time, but just the opportunities in Spain, Portugal, Italy, Croatia, it's just, I can't believe the cost of these, how the return on the money and the funds is just unbelievable.
What are the returns like? Are they double
If
digits?
Yeah, one that we have under contract, it sits in a medieval town that's built around the 1100s, built out of chiseled out of the rocks. I mean, it's just something out of Game of Thrones. It
Wow.
does between 5 and 600,000 euros a year, and they have no direct bookings, no website, and it's 14 rooms, and we can get it for around 2 million
Wow.
cash.
Huh.
So $2 million purchase price. It does 5 or 600,000 with no direct bookings, and I'm like, why am I buying in the United States right now? Labor's inexpensive. If you want to refi right now, it was funny. We just bought a place, 25-year fixed rate for 2.55% interest.
Really?
That's Spain
Out
right now.
there. That's in Spain.
In Spain. I just closed on that property in October last year. It was 2.55% interest.
Unbelievable.
Um,
Unbelievable.
Labor's inexpensive. So and they're castles. I mean, it's just like,
Yeah,
really
you've got the history and the
the
town
history. I just want to walk and carry on the history of these places.
and yeah, I mean, just picturesque.
Yeah.
Um, so leading a team has its challenges. What's your
Mhm.
leadership style? And can you give us an example of how it helped you through a tough spot?
My leadership style's changed now that, the management teams have gotten younger. But I was always just do it. And then
Yeah.
if you have an issue, get back to me. But I expect you to do it, and I expect you to do it right. And I expect you to work hard. And I finally had to, in the last 2 or 3 years, have my operations guy take over a lot of the management because I was like, I'm going to say something wrong because of I've had some general managers that they expect raises, they expect all this, but they don't want to do the work.
Sure.
And I was like, you don't even have a calendar. It's like, you can't get my reports. And then he came up to me and said, I want a raise. I was like, you have to prove to me that you're worthy of a raise. I'm not giving you a raise. And he actually started bawling,
Oh, wow.
crying. And I'm like, going, okay, you know what? I can't handle it anymore. I'm going to old school him, like really. So I just looked at my operations guy and I'm like, I'm going to leave. You need to handle this from now on because
Yeah.
yeah,
You're not HR.
HR is going to be called really quick, if I continue. So I
Yeah.
did the right thing and just said, you know, it, positive criticism, you can't even do it anymore.
Yeah.
It used to be as like if someone did positive criticism to me, I'd like, oh yeah, I'm going to show you, and I do
Right.
it 2 times
Yeah.
better. And now they just cry, and
Yeah.
I don't know how to handle it.
Yeah. That's not your department.
It's
And
not my
I'm a firm
department.
believer of doing what you're good at and delegate the other
Hmm.
areas to other people that are good at it.
Yes.
Um, so when you're building your dream team, what's the one trait you always look for and why? Obviously, not crying.
No, don't cry. Please don't cry. I
So what do you
want
look for?
I want a little bit of that entrepreneur spirit. And I look for people that, when given direction, they want to show that they can do it. And I love to be able to promote within. And I tell people that. So I want them to be able to take a task and then run with it and make what if I have direction and they say, hey, Mike, how about doing it this way? I want that to where they can come in and say, I'm like, wow, I never even thought about that. Yes, we want to
Sure.
do that. So be able to think instead of just being a yes man or a yes girl, just like, okay, all they do is whatever you say. I want them to
Yes.
actually think and
Think outside the box.
think outside and have my idea better, do it better.
Sure, sure. So when you're building, oh, I'm sorry. How do you, okay, so with the question, say you're looking for, you tend to look for a trait with entrepreneurship and outside of the box. So speaking of outside of the box, so how do you encourage your team to think outside the box and bring new ideas to the table?
Every Monday, the team has a meeting at the hotels, and we go through um, social media rankings or reviews and just all the different things that went on during the week. And I say, how do you think we could do this better? So I never tell them, we need to do this, you need to do this. I actually ask them how they could have done it better. What do they think, or how do we think we can do this? So just getting them thinking is very, very important.
Sure, absolutely. So what does a day in your life look like and how do you juggle work and everything else?
Is there everything else, or is it just
Kind of.
my typical days? I get up early in case I have calls in Spain because it's right now it's evening there,
Sure.
and so I have calls, and then I have what's called a default calendar. On Mondays I do this, on Tuesdays I do this, and I
Sure.
don't it doesn't change unless there's
Sure.
something that needs a lot of work. I'm getting into automation a lot on how I can automate some things.
Hmm.
Using AI and automation tools. So I've got a couple hours free in my head. So why not learn something? Um,
Sure.
So I do some of that, and I try not to hit the emails. I'll
Until you're
glance, I'll glance maybe and just see if there's anything on fire.
there.
But then I have a specific time where I'll actually go through it. So it's just being very disciplined on what I do every day. Fit in the workouts, but and things like that, or the walks. But it's just very regimented. And entrepreneurs need to learn that your day has to be very, very regimented, or else,
Yes.
it's like, oh wow, I've been on Facebook for 2 hours,
Right.
no,
Right.
which you don't want.
No. So, has there been a book, a podcast, or someone that's really changed your outlook or approach?
But there's so many. Um, One of the ones is the lifestyles. It's I can't even think of the name of it. 18 Laws of Leverage was a big one. Nate Hambrick. And it talked about all the different ways, we're leveraging things. People think about leverages with money only, but we leverage things every day. We leverage our time, and how can we properly leverage every aspect of our lives for it to start making money for us?
Sure.
So that was a
Sure.
very good
Passive income. Yeah.
passive income. It's you're leveraging everything. How can I make money? I wanted a condo here. Well, how can you leverage that?
Right.
Do an
Absolutely.
Airbnb. Don't
Ab-
go if you like to vacation in Florida, get an investment property down there. So now it's a business expense. Now you're making money off of it. It's
yeah.
thinking how you can leverage your life.
I agree. I like that way of thinking, that mindset. So how do you tackle learning new things and stuff that's way outside of your comfort zone?
Yeah, well, like the AI automation, I'm old. So people are like, wow, you're old. You're getting into AI. And I'm like, yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. Setting specific times where there's no distractions, kind of like with that default calendar. Close the office door, and I just maybe just an hour a day.
Sure.
Uh, and I do it that way. I can't block off like the entire day, but
Sure.
just no
Mhm.
distractions, sit in a closed office and just do it. And then hope
Sure.
there's something up here that can retain it still.
Absolutely. So can you share a personal habit or routine that significantly contributed to your success, your professional success?
I think a lot of my successes, I'm very analytical. So, and the military, being in the military at a young age, kind of like
Sure.
makes you grow up, makes you regimented, that checklist. So that really helped me. So I have that background. Then I was an airline pilot, and I was like, oh, more checklists, more routines. We're kind of that. And so I brought that into my professional life where I need to set up checklists, routines, things I do
System.
every day, systems and procedures. And you have to have that. You can't just willy-nilly entrepreneurship or any type of business.
Sure.
So those
Yeah,
those are the really big things.
sure. Yeah, 'cause you got to have a routine, you got to have discipline, and you can't just wing it, especially being an entrepreneur. You could try to wing it, but you're not going to get very far, after a certain point. Yeah, completely understand that. So how have you balanced personal growth with personal demands throughout your career?
Having a very strong wife, beside you, so I don't have to work that hard. It's because she has a very good career. She has, and I don't have to take time, like a lot of time. And I guess we both like some of the solitude, and it's okay if we're both kind of locked in our offices
Sure.
and working. So that's really helped. Taking time, I go to church, so just taking time for that. The meditation, it's not the kumbaya type stuff, but it's any type of things. It's so important that you self heal and self meditate to grow. I might
Sure.
reach one of those guitars in the back and just put on headsets and just wind down at night before bed. Just it's that any type of that calming, and it could be reading a book, it could be anything, but it's so important that every night I do one of these things.
Sure, to settle the busy hustle and bustle of the day and
Yeah.
be able to just get back to being one with yourself and your family.
Yeah.
Totally agree with that and see that. So, this is a question I always like to ask. Obviously, it sounds like things are going really well for you in your business. So, as you're looking towards the future, I'm wondering if and how you create passive income, which I'm familiar with a few, some of your hotels
Mhm.
and whatnot. Or if you have invested in the past, some other
Mhm.
things that you do or invest in.
Yeah. Well, everyone always needs that. What is it called? The 6 or 7 different fingers of income. So, we have Airbnbs. We also have residential rentals, and those are two different ones. Oil and gas, invested passively in oil and gas, gold. So it's some AI. So it's just thinking and researching. Not don't ever do anything because it's hot, because it's probably too late. As soon as it's hot, as soon as you know about it, it's already
Too
probably.
late.
So do a lot of studying, and I like oil and gas. I like precious metals. Some of the other lithiums, I can't even. Some of the metals that we're in, I can't even pronounce. These rare earth minerals. But it's
Sure,
like our phones have some type of a metal in them. And it's not just lithium. Lithium is gone. It's already off the hill. But study it. But it's what are the things in the next 10 or 20 years we're still going to need? And that's what you want to get into.
sure. That makes sense. So, I'm always curious with investing in gas and oil and the
Hmm.
sense of, I guess, my hang up on that was how do you know when you can't really, nobody knows when that barrel's gonna, or not the barrel, when the mining
The
area
well
is
goes
gonna,
dry.
the well, thank you, when it goes dry. Yes, thank you. So how do
Yeah.
you justify, I mean,
Well,
investing in that?
there's two different oil and gas ways that you can invest in. Actually extracting and doing that is really good because you get a lot of tax benefits up front. So even if it lasts 2 or 3 years and you get your money back or maybe 10%, the accelerated depreciation is well worth the entire ordeal. And for me, it's because of I need tax benefits. It's
Sure,
because I sell a hotel and all of a sudden it's like, oh man, do I 1031? Do I not? But there's also different area of where you're investing more in the actual drilling. They're finding it's the exploratory part of the oil and gas. So
sure,
you're actually finding the oil, drilling it, and then you sell it off to the companies that actually extract it. So there's a couple of different ways to.
sure, sure. It is pretty fascinating that I had a guest on that. That's one of his biggest things that, or opportunities that he brings to his investors has been the oil and gas.
Yeah. Oh,
So,
timberland is also really, really big. Um,
timberland.
timberland, a fund that we're in, you buy 1,000 acres in South Carolina or Georgia, and you you can sell off the timber, you can do mineral rights, you can do cattle, you can do, there's 5 or 6 ways that you can now, you buy all this land, but now there's 5 or 6 different things they can do with that land in order to give you returns. So
Hmm,
timberland is really, really popular right now.
that is pretty interesting. I'd like to hear more about that. So, as we are wrapping up our interview, what exciting plans or initiatives do you have for the next 6 to 12 months? What do you got going on? What do
Spain,
you
Spain,
have?
Spain, Spain,
Spain,
Spain,
Spain,
Spain,
Spain.
Spain, Spain.
You're moving to
Um,
Spain.
Well, we actually have a house over there, so but it's like, okay, when do I get to go? When do I get to go again? My team's already is over there, but a lot of Spain, we're concentrating. I have some opportunities to build some hotels here in the U.S., but The debt service cover ratios aren't right. Just expenses, the interest rates, nothing really pencils unless you're an institutional investor that only wants 2%.
Sure.
A lot of things don't make sense here. So I'm waiting to see what's going on in the United States to see whether or not we get back into building hotels or buying hotels here. But right now, I'll take the double-digit cap rates in Spain.
Sure. What are some of the cap rates? I'm so curious.
One that we have is around 15%.
Wow.
And it's labor's low. It's just the expenses it's unbelievable.
That's pretty amazing. Yeah, I'd love to hear
And we
more
do
about that.
syndication. We do syndications of funds, and
Okay.
it's
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah, it sounds like fun. And you've got a great castle to go visit anytime you want. So that always
Yeah.
helps out. Thank you so much, Mike, for coming on and taking the time to share some of your insights and tips with us. If anyone wanted to connect with you, what should they do?
I'm very active on LinkedIn. It's Michael Stohler, and I post all the time. Website's gatewaype.com, as in Gateway Private Equity. It's gatewaype.com.
All right, awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on. And if anybody wants to get a hold of Mike, he just let you know, go onto LinkedIn or onto his website and learn more about what he's doing and hopefully become a part of it. Thanks
There you
again,
go.
guys. We'll see you guys soon.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to Driven, the Unscripted Success Podcast. Want to share your story? Apply to be a guest at drivensuccesspodcast.com/guest.